material to make the balls with: cork, wool, chalk, animal fur and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber with new balls please seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern-day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point: the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour Optic Yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the world's biggest sports radio station. This is talkSPORT. My name is Max Rushden. Alongside me, Barry Glendenning. Barry, welcome.
Max, how are you today?
Yeah, I'm all right. Thanks very much. I notice you're yet to join the Zoom, so I can't. I can see your face on the YouTube, which is a great relief, but I can't see your face looking at me, where you can point at me to answer the questions, to say you've got a question, to shrug your shoulders that you haven't got a question, all those things that we need to make this seamless, because people still think we're in the room together. Such is the incredible chemistry that you and I have.
It is remarkable, Max. Look, far be it from me to throw anyone from our production staff under the bus. I have, on 2 occasions, asked to be let into the Zoom. But Reese, for it is he, is proving quite the gatekeeper. Apparently my name's not down, I'm not coming in. Speaking of our production staff, Max, Becky is on what we call, she's riding the desk today. She's you know that desk with all the buttons and the faders, and I don't know what anything does. She's on across it.
You're very welcome, Becky.
Yeah, she's with us today. I was talking to her earlier, and she told me she normally works on the Jim White and Simon Jordan show. So she's used. Becky is used to a cauldron of conflict, Max, and I think of us more as a lounge of looseness.
Did Becky say she wanted a bit more adversarial content?
Well, I'm thinking I should have a lot of very strident opinions today. I'll be Simon Jordan.
Okay.
Now, I'm not sure how good I'll be at being Simon Jordan, because, to be honest, Max, if I was as sure about one thing as Simon Jordan is about everything, I'd be really happy with myself. And also, as almost immediately, the moment after I venture an opinion on anything, I automatically disagree with myself. That is not a failing I've seen in Simon Jordan.
No, you need a bit more conviction, I would say, Barry. That's what you need. I think I need to be, if I'm playing the role of Jim, and I think we have to be honest here. I think it's a more successful show than ours.
Oh, I'm not slagging it off. I'm just saying it's slightly different to ours.
It is different. I think I probably need to be a bit more amazed about the things that are happening just generally, rather than just noticing the things. I tell you, you could have a strident opinion if you want, and I think you do, but I think we share the opinion, so it's not going to be very adversarial. But is it a sign of great progress, perhaps the ultimate sign of progress in women's football, that England's women can produce a performance in a tournament that reminds me every single bit of England's men tapping it about at the back, getting forward, not having a clue what to do with it, and getting picked off by a vastly superior football team?
Well, there has been a lot of talk, the women want to be the men's equals, treated the same way. And in recent years, that more money has been hosed at the England team, and now we see players are getting big sponsorship deals. Loads of the ads around these games feature various England internationals. But I think they're getting more and more like the men's team insofar as they were so bad last night. It was quite breathtaking. And I suspect that England camp is not as happy as we're led to believe. I've had this suspicion for quite some time.
Based on what?
Just bits and pieces I've heard.
Really?
We've seen various players spit the dummy in the build-up to this competition and exclude themselves from selection or retire because they were told they weren't going to be selected. And there's evidence of maybe some of these players getting a little bit too big for their boots. And it's going to be interesting now, because I think that those players are going to be subjected to criticism in the next few days that they're really not used to getting. And it'll be interesting to see how they deal with it.
Some technical questions here. Am I too loud today? In stark contrast to Jim White, says Chris, who is invariably too far away from the mic. You sound like it's halfway down your throat today, says Chris in the Alps. Is Max on Mars? Am I too noisy today? So could we just probably things we probably should have done before the show began. But how's my volume with you, Barry? Is it okay?
You do seem quite loud. I don't know.
Do you want me to turn it down a little bit?
Is that within your purview, Max?
Well,
or is that Becky's job? I don't know.
I've got some twiddly buttons I can have a go with.
You see,
I'm not sure.
That's the difference between you and I. You get trusted with buttons. I've no buttons. Because in the old studio, I had two buttons, and I kept pressing the wrong one or leaning on it with my elbow by mistake. So they moved it. Don't give Barry any buttons.
Who is in charge of this Zoom call? I'm now going to whisper. Mac's sound is slightly distorted. Barry is fine. Fix it. Okay. Oh, this is an interesting thing. Do I need to go into maybe I need to go into my settings. This is very exciting. Big news here is that Barry has been allowed into the Zoom call. As somebody said, who's in charge of this Zoom? Is it Jackie Weaver? She doesn't have the authority to keep Barry out. I'm sick of telling that woman. Anyway, yes, we'll see what we can do. There is something. Whenever you start any of these things, someone says just go into call settings and click on this button. But I've forgotten what they are. But I don't think that's not what we should be here to do, Barry. Everything should be just delivered for us perfectly, and then we can deliver the ultimate broadcasting experience for the next 2 hours. But yeah, I agree with you. I thought England, we'll talk to Chris Parris in a second, I thought England were really bad. I mean, they were okay for about 15 minutes, and then it was just, wow, nothing's happening here. I thought France were playing a different game. I thought they were so good. And, what I did like, Barry, is in the last 10 minutes, England really got it launched. And I was thinking, this appears to be working. If Serena Wiegman could get John Beck in just alongside her, then I think England might have a chance against the Netherlands.
Yeah, I didn't see the Netherlands game against Wales, so I don't know how impressive they were or how Wales got on. I know Wales lost, obviously, but I don't know how they did on their... it was the first game in a major finals, and I think for Wales it's not necessary, without wanting to be condescending, I think it's not about the results for them. They're the lowest ranked team in the competition. They are hopeful of taking a scalp. And they might, on the evidence of last night's England display. I would give them every chance of beating England. But I'm predisposed to dislike the Welsh because they knocked Ireland out in a qualifier. So Ireland aren't there in this tournament.
Max, did you deep fry your microphone pre-show? Says this text. Rob says, I was just about to bin my radio. I thought I was just too old. I'm glad to hear the problem's all with you. 10 minutes in so far. Welcome to Talk Zoom. Yeah, very good. And producer Reese has just said, just move back a bit. Surely there's a way of making it just work at the adequate volume. Anyway, look, it's Max and Barrett here on the warm-up. And, we haven't been on air together since the tragic story about Diogo Jota and his brother happened, and I don't know, we sort of talked about it before the show about what do you say, what can you say, and it simultaneously feels like you can't add anything that hasn't been said already, but equally we'd totally remiss not to mention it during a programme because it is at the forefront of so many listeners' minds and football fans' minds, and it's so heartbreaking. Liverpool made this amazing video, which must have been really hard to make for the people who did it, of putting together a wonderful interview and things that he'd said to the club, and it just finished with him on the pitch playing football with his kids, and it just completely broke me. And I know it's said so often when someone has died, but he did appear to be just a really great bloke, which always seems much more important to me than how good you are at football. And he was brilliant at football, and I hadn't spent a lot of time analysing how good Diogo Jota was at football. When you think about, he was sort of effortless, and one of those footballers who didn't really almost look like a normal person playing football, but was brilliant in the air, was so good at finding space. And I guess we do, and I'm talking in cliches, and everyone probably has, and everyone's probably said all of these things, but I think when you look at footballers and you think they're immortal because, they are the fittest of all of us, and the truth is, they are just as fragile as all of us, and they're just muddling through life like I think probably all of us are, and I think we do feel like we know these people. I've got a mate who's a Wolves fan who was just, obviously never met him, and these people you've never met but was so totally broken by it. And I suppose you don't just think about that, you think about your own family and your own mortality and all those kind of things. And it is cliches that you come up with, that the things that you worry about don't matter, and that you must value life, that it's fragile, and make most of the time that you have. But I'm echoing what probably everyone else has said, Barry, but it's just so desperately sad for him and his family. And you saw the pictures of the people walking into the funeral yesterday, and my just heart breaks for everyone involved in that.
Yeah, I echo all your sentiments. I mean, we were discussing over the weekend how some celebrity deaths affect you more than others. I didn't know Diogo Jota. I was familiar with his work. He seemed like a lovely guy, a humble guy, a good footballer. And when I heard that news on, what was it, Thursday morning? Thursday morning.
Thursday morning, yeah.
It was like just getting a punch in the stomach, and it really took the wind out of my sails for the day and sort of for the weekend. And reading tributes to him and seeing how sad the people who knew him and loved him were. Andy Robertson's tribute broke me. They were clearly the best of friends, and Andy Robertson was clearly so upset. And Liverpool fans, Wolves fans, Porto fans, Portugal fans, his neighbours and friends in that town he was from. It's just... I think it's because you feel like you know some of these people, whether it's a comedian you like, a musician you like, whatever. You just feel like you know them. And obviously you don't, but you're still allowed to be sad.
Yeah, totally. It's Max and Barry on the warm-up. Good afternoon. You are listening to Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning here on talkSPORT here until 2. Let's do a bit of Women's Euros. Chris Paros, broadcaster, friend of the show, Spurs fan, England fan, was there yesterday. And Barry and I have already said, Chris, Chris, welcome to the show. How are you?
Very well. A bit hot, but great.
God, they weren't very good yesterday, were they?
Well, I mean, there's three things I'd start with, which was it was a really marginal offside for the goal that England got chalked off. So what would have happened if it had been given? There was a foul on Alessia Russo in the build-up to their second goal.
No. There was not a
succession.
foul on Alessia Russo.
It was, Barry, come on.
Come on.
And there were some other baffling decisions from the referee. So what if she hadn't made half of them? Now, I completely appreciate if ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a happy new year. So, like, I think we have come away with, like, some issues of, you know, not being quick to the ball. I've never seen them give away the ball so many times, really outplayed in midfield. You know, the whole of Serena Wiegmann's setup is for it all to go through Kira Walsh and Georgia Stanway, and they have to be on form. Georgia Stanway, I don't know if she's fit. She had a poor game by her standards, and with both of them off, the whole system fell apart. And you can also see how much France's players actually trust each other, which is interesting given the issues they've had in the past. But so many of them come from the same two clubs, and they seem more connected, more prepared, more on it. They were faster, quicker, first to the ball. So we got a real lesson actually yesterday, and I'm hoping that lessons will be learned for the next game, because it's an inauspicious start. However, as I'm sure you know, the last time England lost an opening game in a tournament was in 2015 to France. They went on to the semi-finals, so no need to panic just yet.
Yeah. Chris, I don't watch England regularly, and I was genuinely shocked by how poor they were. And okay, the marginal offside, it was still an offside. We'll agree to disagree on the foul on Alessia Russo. I thought it was a great tackle. But the full-backs were overrun, the midfield was overrun. Lawrence James started well, but she clearly wasn't fit enough. Do you think Wiegmann's decision to select her was a gamble that backfired?
I mean, that first shot, it's always, you know, small margins in football, and you know, if that shot had gone in, or the goal had been that sort of toe offside, it would have been a genius move, because actually she was really calm in those opening 15 minutes. She was absolutely running the show, but then maybe her fitness showed out. But I mean, I thought Cascarino completely ran riot, and the fact that both she and Sondi Baltimore were substituted at 60 minutes just went to show like how confident they were.
As I said to Barry at the start of the show, is it sort of the sign of ultimate progress that England's women can make me feel exactly like England's men do in a major tournament? Just get to the final third, can't do anything, just get picked off. And I just thought France looked so superior, like physically, technically. When they had the ball in the final third, they could just get past us so easily.
Yeah, and we didn't help ourselves because actually both goals were from both of their goals started with a misplaced pass from our defence. So there's a lot of that. And the substitutions came a bit too late to shift the momentum. Michelle Adjemang made a real impact when she came on. She was direct. She caused a bit of chaos in their back line and looked like she was up for it, but she didn't have enough time to turn it around. So I'll be interested to see what happens. You know, Ella Toone was warming up in front of us, looked furious while she was warming up. So I wonder.
Chris, I've heard people saying that Wiegman puts too much faith in her senior. She has favourites, basically, and that these favourites didn't play well last night and should be moved out so younger players can be given a chance to shine. Do you think that is a bit of an overreaction, or is there any substance to that?
I think it's probably a bit of an overreaction, and also because from a manager's perspective, you've always got the players that you trust. And I think particularly in tournaments, you know, we know that hopefully it's going to be a month-long endeavour. And so you have to, you know, you would start with the players that you trust and then see sort of what goes on. Although you look at that lineup and you think, oh, it looks a lot like the 2022. But if you look at the squad, it's much refreshed. So I imagine the thinking was start with your most experienced players against what's arguably your toughest game and sort of bed into the competition. We all would have taken a draw, I think, at the beginning of the game. Yeah. So, I mean, I guess we'll see. I'm not panicking just yet.
This sounds exactly like the interviews we do when we're talking to you about Spurs, doesn't it?
As you can see, it's very much more... Listen, it has to be my approach to football. Look, as a Spurs fan and as an England fan, they often run in parallel. And if I didn't try and stay calm with a little bit of a positive outlook, like, I think I'd have an ulcer.
Chris, over the next couple of days, these players are going to get an awful lot of criticism in the media that they are not used to getting. How do you think they'll cope with it?
Well, I wonder, because I think a lot of teams make decisions not to engage with social media while they're on camp. So I wonder what will happen about whether they're looking at it. But also that experience you've just talked about will probably make a difference to just sort of say it's just external noise and that we have to just keep going with our own game plan. Well, that's what you'd hope at least. Because, you know, there's a lot of experience in that squad as well. So, but yeah, you're right. They're not necessarily used to it. But, you know, I think, you know, they're bound to have psychologists in the camp and all the other things that you need to, of course, ensure that you've got that resilience to kind of block out that noise.
But I just thought France was so much better than them. I come back to this. Like, if they come up against them again, like you play a game like that and you must think, wow, France are on a different level.
Except we've seen England play on those levels. We look sloppy. I don't know whether the heat was too much, although obviously it was hot in 22. And you've seen England play at that tempo and be able to pass that crisply and move the ball well in the final third. So, you know, maybe it's just a wake-up call that they can't take this stuff for granted. You know, maybe that game against Jamaica wasn't the greatest send-off because actually Jamaica weren't great and you come and you win 6-0 and you think, right, we've got this, we're reigning champions. I don't know. But as I say, wake-up call to actually just put a little spoke in the wheel to say this might not be what we think it is. Although that group, I mean, I don't know what you're expecting. But France have always flattered to deceive and they've never quite found that rhythm that you would expect from them in terms of the quality of the players. But, you know, some big calls from the French manager as well, like no Wendy Renard, no Jenny Le Sommery. And actually that looks like it paid off.
Away from the game, Chris, what's it like over there in Switzerland? I'm guessing the England women's supporters don't throw furniture around town squares and that kind of thing. It's a nice atmosphere.
It was lovely. The trams run like clockwork. See what I did there? Had a bit of a laugh with some French fans on the tram on the way there. Bit of, singing some songs and kind of saying we're going to win. No, you're going to win. Whatever. It's it's eye-wateringly expensive. Now, people told me how expensive it was, and I don't think I understood the order of magnitude. A mediocre pizza cost the equivalent of £32.
Wow, and that's how they put it on the on the menu.
And I have a mediocre pizza, please.
Honestly, I mean, the vibes are immaculate. There's loads of people out here, and it's really tournaments are really good fun anyway. And there's an event that the FSA are putting on with the FA Lionesses HQ, which was like in a really big bar with loads of areas. And there were like conversations with former lionesses, young people, showing my age, getting their faces painted, loads like DJs, different areas, really nice bar. Yeah, really good, like sort of pre-match excitement.
And, I suppose you can enjoy it because England will be going home in 2 games. No, it's good to have you, Chris. You're the right person to talk to because you give me faith in the fact that it might be okay.
It's early days, Max. Honestly, like once we've walloped the Netherlands on Wednesday, who looked like Manchester City yesterday. That was weird. Like Viv Miedema and Kirsten Kasperai and Jill Roord in a sky blue kit. I thought I was watching Manchester City.
Yeah, that Miedema finish was so good, wasn't it? She's one of my favourite players.
Just like little dink there, and just like slid it into the top corner. Lovely.
Yeah. Well, good she got that out of the way against Wales, and she can have a stinker against us. Hey, thanks for coming on, Chris.
Lovely to see you guys.
Thanks, Chris.
Spread that pizza over 2 weeks. 32 quid for a mediocre pizza, blimey. Anyway, it's the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max and Barry, we're here till 2 o'clock. Lars Sivertson will join us in just a second. We'll talk Club World Cup. Good afternoon all, Max and Barry with you until 2 this afternoon on the warm-up on talkSPORT. The Bristolian's been in touch, just saying, talking of mediocre pizza, here's mine. And a really grim slice. I'll retweet it there, just so anyone else can see it, who's still on the health site, his ex. I'm surprised, Barry, that you've not been asked to host Transfer Insiders. I think it'd be right up your alley, that show.
Yeah. I think there are two kinds of people in this world. Like people who get really, really excited about excuse me, transfer news, speculation, etc., and so on, and me, because I'm just quite happy to wait and see what happens. Yeah. And when the transfer window closes, go, all right, he's gone there at least. I've always had this theory, I've probably said it before in the show, I think there should be a complete blackout on all transfer news and speculation, and then on the first day of the season, your team runs out on the pitch, you see who's there, who's not there, right, okay, and... Yeah.
It would make Transfer Insiders a more difficult programme.
I think it would, yes. And, you know, different people are interested by different things, but the endless transfer speculation just doesn't do it for me, Max.
I don't mind it. I get a little bit of it. But anyway, let's talk about the Club World Cup. Let's bring in Lars Sivertsen, talk about whatever you want. Hey, Lars, you okay?
Oh, I was excited to hear from that Transfer Insiders thing that someone said that's the most I disagree with anything anyone's ever said. I feel like if we get Barry on there, we could challenge that record. I think you could. I think you could really bring something to that show and just really unsettle people with takes that no one's ever expected or heard before.
The thing is, Lars, I've spent so much time talking to Barry on the radio and on podcasts. I've heard him say "I don't care" so many times, but I reckon he could break that record in one episode.
I believe in you. I believe in you, Barry. I believe in you.
Paul says, Max, the volume on your microphone is definitely too high, as I can still hear you. Thank you, Paul. Anyway, look, I suppose we start with the injury to Musiala. I mean, it seems to me that it's just a freak injury. I want to blame the Club World Cup for lots of things, but I'm not sure. Obviously, if this wasn't happening, he wouldn't be injured like that, and it looked so terrible. And I really feel for him. But I'm not sure you can blame Infantino for that freak accident.
Yeah, I think there are two tracks there. The first is this because of the extra games being played? And I don't see any logic to that. If someone's like exploded a muscle or had like a terrible tear of something, then you can maybe look at the workload. But this seems to be just a complete freak collision. Donnarumma's gone to pounce on the ball, and if you look at the replay, which is unpleasant, you can just kind of see that Musiala's foot is just planted at the wrong moment, so there's really nowhere for that energy to dissipate, and it goes, and it's very, very unfortunate. I am, like you, very keen to blame the Club Cup World Cup for many things, but you can't really do it here. The other side is to what extent was Donnarumma's actions reckless here? And Manuel Neuer suggested after the game that, and I quote him, "This is a situation where you don't have to go in like that." He accepts the risk of injuring his opponents. So Neuer was kind of throwing a little bit of fuel on the fire there, which I honestly think... I think Manuel Neuer would have done the same thing. I think he would have also gone for that ball. I think it's very normal goalkeeping behavior, but I can also understand that emotions were running very high in the Bayern camp after that experience, and people are maybe reacting emotionally more so than rationally.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't seen the incident, because I know a lot of people aren't tuning into these games necessarily. So one of the PSG defenders is trying to shepherd the ball out for a goal kick, isn't it? And Jamal Musiala, that ball's not going out, I'm going to go for it. Donnarumma says, I'm going to go for it. So they're both basically going for it at the same time. Donnarumma gets it, catches it cleanly, and happens to clatter into Musiala at the same time. I don't think there was any malice there at all. Complete accident. And I suspect what Neuer is saying is, look, this tournament, it's not all that. You don't have to dive in like that to get that ball. There was no danger of a goal being scored, really. Musiala just decided, I can keep the ball in play here if I get to it first, but he didn't get to it first. So I don't think some people in the crowd were blaming Donnarumma for it. It wasn't his fault. It was a total accident, freak accident.
No, I'd say 99 out of 100 goalkeepers would have gone for that, and I think it's completely fair. But I actually think, like, moving slightly on from the subject, hopefully, aside from this terrible injury, I quite enjoyed this game because it did have it was played not in the spirit of a tournament that didn't matter, and in a sense, because you had in the 70-somethings minute, you had Harry Kane making an incredible sort of lung busting run to get back in defence and put in a great tackle on the PSG left back who's made it all the way up the pitch. You know, you had players doing that little bit extra to try to win their 50s and try to get the ball out. So actually, this is one of the games I've watched in this tournament that actually felt like a proper competitive games between two teams that were really at it and really wanted to win.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Lars, because I want to not like this tournament. There's so many holes you can pick, and there's so many snags that need to be ironed out ahead of the next one. But this game was fantastic. I loved every minute of it. And the last 15 minutes were completely nuts. You had the goal, you had 2 red cards, you had another goal, you had a penalty given, then overturned. It was so chaotic, and I think there was 9 minutes of added time. There was 8 minutes of added time. They played 9 or 10 minutes, and Bayern Munich were throwing the kitchen sink, the microwave, the fridge, the air fryer, everything at PSG when it was still 1-0, and then PSG went with 9 men and scored a second. It was just bonkers and very entertaining. And because it was being played in the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, the roof was closed, so it wasn't swelteringly hot for the players. And I think the players really deserve a lot of kudos for the amount of effort they put in, because they put on a show.
Yeah, because a week ago, right now, we were sat here on this very show joking because it was the gentleman from Sky Sports News who suggested that if you didn't like it, you could go for a swim. And there have definitely been games in this tournament where I've thought I could be doing laps in the pool right now. Like that would be more entertaining. But this was tremendous, and it had real tension. It had real nerve. You could tell from the players that they cared in a way not a lot of them did in the group stage. And I guess that is the thing when. It is an inconvenience to a lot of these guys. I'm sure they'd rather be on a yacht somewhere, but when you get to the knockouts and you meet your peers in the elite level of football, you do kind of want to win the thing. And I also caught myself watching this thinking that this game was sort of further confirmation. And that's another thing I don't like saying out loud. It's kind of further confirmation that PSG are the most impressive team in the world at the moment. Whether they'll go on to win this tournament, we don't know yet. But they are absolutely fabulous, even if they weren't absolutely at their best here. But it's so... I cannot remember a team that had so much speed in all areas of the pitch, right? There's just there's not a single slow guy out there. Like, they're all sprinters, and it makes it so impossible to play against them because whatever you do, they can do you in some kind of way.
And, you know, just to echo all those things, I also want to hate it and want to not look forward to PSG playing Real Madrid in a semi-final or Xabi Alonso's Real Madrid. You know, clearly there are, for some people and some teams and some players, this means a whole lot. For Alonso, this is enormous, right? What a way to start your tenure as Real Madrid manager, right? And they beat Dortmund 3-2. It was kind of a fun 3-2, but not quite as... not the perfect way a 3-2 should happen, but ended in a ridiculous way as well. But it leads to Real Madrid PSG, which is a game that you want to see, right?
Yeah, and we're kind of seeing Xabi Alonso learning how to be a Real Madrid manager on the job, because he had really no time at all with the team before this tournament and is just having to have practice sessions between games and figuring things out. And we're already seeing some little things like the big headline story, I guess, from Real Madrid is the emergence of young Gonzalo Garcia, who has now scored, I believe, 4 goals in this tournament. He's a 21-year-old striker who scored 25 for Real Madrid's B team last season. He's certainly emerging as someone who can be a squad option. He's kind of like an old school number 9 character who makes good runs and is active and an interesting sort of backup plan for Mbappe, who's clearly going to be the guy up front for them this season. But I'm also really taking note of Arda Güler getting a lot of minutes. The young Turkish player. He's 20 years old now. He's been a super, very highly rated talent for a couple of seasons now. Has been struggling to get the minutes. I mean, if you talk to Turkish football fans, they're quite upset about the number of minutes he's been getting, but he's been playing a lot this tournament and has been playing in slightly deeper positions and looks like, I mean, every time I watch Real Madrid, you can see that he is the absolute real deal. So you're seeing sort of little signs of Xabi Alonso putting his own stamp on this team, which is in itself kind of interesting.
Lars, if Güler starts getting regular minutes, whose minutes will he be taking?
Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it, Barry? I do wonder if in this sort of trying to make this attack make sense. Well, first of all, they seem to be playing him a little bit deeper to try to get him on there and get him involved in play. But Vinicius and Mbappe obviously have to play. Bellingham has to play. If you look at him, I do wonder if Rodrigo ends up being the odd man out here. I do wonder if Rodrigo is the guy who's not going to be involved in the biggest games for Real Madrid. And I have to say, if I was one of the other big European clubs who have the budget to do that sort of thing, I'd be having a word with Rodrigo's agent this summer and say, hey, because he is a fabulous player as well. And there is a history of Real Madrid pushing out guys who end up doing very, very good things elsewhere just because they couldn't quite get in Real Madrid as a team. So big teams who are looking for a wide player this summer, I think the Rodrigo is an obvious way one to see. So this is me auditioning for Transfer Insiders, by the way. This is, get in there.
That's the thing. It is interesting. Like where Rodrigo goes is interesting, right? That there's no doubt about that. You know, saying my sources tell me I understand. I've had a message that I don't know. Someone's moving.
My sources are telling me nothing here. Let's just be clear. My sources are telling me absolutely nothing. But my brain, my thinking box in my head, is logicking myself into thinking that this guy could be on the market because I don't know. He's never going to be the main man there, and he's good enough to be like one of the A-listers at one of the top clubs in the world. And you can go back to something that like when Wesley Sneijder was kind of forced out and ended up going to Inter and won the treble there as the sort of fulcrum of that team. I mean, there's a history of Real Madrid kind of throwing out the baby with the bathwater sometimes, and maybe that's something that could be happening to Rodrigo this summer.
Should quickly mention the other side of the draw, and Chelsea have a great chance of getting to the final, don't they?
Yeah, Chelsea. Maybe if you're a Chelsea fan, maybe you feel like you're not getting enough credit here because I feel like we haven't talked a lot about them, and their games are not
we haven't
always
talked about them at all, Lars. If memory serves me correctly, the last 10 minutes.
Yeah, this segment in particular, but like in general, because they're not always like swashbuckling and fabulous to watch, but they are getting the job done. They faced Fluminense. I mean, if there is one thing we've learned from this tournament is that you can't really you have to be careful not to underestimate the Brazilian teams. I mean, they're not bad. There's some good players in there. They're well coached, and they are really, really up for this with the fans behind them. And also, I mean, they take this tournament very, very serious. But of course, yeah, I'm sure if you're Chelsea, you would rather play Fluminense than PSG or Bayern or Real Madrid. I mean, that's a fair point to make.
And thank you for making it. Well, that sounds good. Anything else you want to add? Zubimendi, I mean, good. Zubi has been confirmed. That seems like a very good thing for Arsenal to have done.
Yeah, very good midfielder. We'll add a little bit of balance to that. And I just think now that Declan Rice seems to have fully committed to being this sort of rampaging number 8 type player who gets forward a fair bit, you do want someone next to him who's a little bit of the more of the responsible adult in the midfield. And Zubimendi, not the flashiest midfielder in the world, but a very steady, solid defensive, keeps the ball moving. I think that's a combination that makes a lot of sense. Moving on in the transfer, I mean, Jamie Gittins going to Chelsea, kind of interesting. Chelsea again spending quite a lot of money on a young player. They seem to like that. I've been thinking a lot about this because, of course, there's a history of sort of English-born wingers going to Dortmund, doing well there, and then moving back to the Premier League, and obviously hasn't worked out brilliantly for Jadon Sancho. And Jadon Sancho was doing a lot more for Dortmund, was much more dominant for them than Jamie Gittins has been. I would still, though, say the interesting thing about Gittins for me, he's just a little bit more explosive. He's a little bit faster. He's got a little bit more physical punch to him, whereas Sancho is more intricate. And I think Sancho has struggled with the physicality and sort of getting away from defenders properly in the Premier League. Gittins is a little bit more extreme in the physical capacities. Very good at going past people. Will certainly add something to Chelsea this season.
And Lars, another man going to Chelsea, or a boy even, is the Palmeiras player who scored against him yesterday. What's his name? Estevao Willian. Scored a brilliant goal. Looked really. I mean, he's not a big lad, and he got kicked around a bit by Mark Cucurella, but he was well able for it, and it looks like they got someone a bit special there.
Yeah, and people who know a lot more about South American club football than I do assure me that he looks set to be the next big thing. And he the little flashes I've seen of him, he looks absolutely brilliant. You always wonder with Chelsea, they have this strategy of bringing in a lot of young players, hoping that they'll improve, hoping their value will go up. You wonder about the balance there. Are you putting too much responsibility on quite a lot of young shoulders? But certainly in terms of talent, he looks absolutely extraordinary. And maybe the kind of player you almost expect Real Madrid to pick up. Real Madrid have had this thing of just if anyone looks promising in the Brazilian league, we're just going to snap them up and see what happens. And in the case of Vinicius, in the case of Rodrigo, that's worked out for them. Estevao going to Chelsea, I would be excited about that if I was a Chelsea fan. He looks really good.
Good stuff, Lars. Thanks for coming on, mate.
Anytime, guys.
Lars Siverton there. It is Max and Barry on the warm-up. Good afternoon. You are listening to the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning with you until 2 o'clock. There was a rain delay at Edgbaston. They're back underway. So England have a lot of runs and 7 wickets. The 76 for 3, target of 608. Seems unlikely. Never say never with Bazball. We'll cross to Sam Allard in a bit. He is there for talkSPORT. Before that, let's get the latest odds ahead of today's action with William Hill.
In the Zone on talkSPORT with William Hill. 18 plus, gambleaware.org.
Lee Phelps joins us. Hey, Lee.
Hi, how you doing? Feels like a proper British summer day, doesn't it, over the sport? Chucking it down outside, British Grand Prix, middle Sunday at Wimbledon, women's Euros, horse racing. We've got Test cricket as well. We've got in play on the Test cricket. You just mentioned it. Just a quick one. England 100-1 to win this match. 21-10 the draw, and India a 1-3, as you said. England chasing down. Need 528 to win, with 7 wickets remaining. A few price boosts available as well. Harry Brook to score 75. That's 7-4. Ollie Pope to score 75 is 5-2, and Ben Stokes to be England's top run scorer in the second innings is 9-2 as well. So plenty to go out there on the in-play cricket.
Yeah, such an optimistic cricket watcher. I just go, if these two could both get double centuries, then look,
well, they're on 24 and 23 at the minute. You're like, yeah, it's all good until the wicket goes down. But
it's on. That just need to get to 608. What about the Grand Prix then?
Yeah, cracking day for it, isn't it? For the British drivers as well. We've got loads of price boosts on this. The main one is Lando Norris and Lewis Hamilton to both finish on the podium. They're on the grid in 3rd and 5th. That was 6-4, now 2-1. So Hamilton and Norris both to finish on the podium. £10 max bet on that one. Max Verstappen and Oscar Piastri are both the co-favourites, 15-8 co-favourites. They're 1st and 2nd on the grid. So yeah, looking forward to that one. We've got Wimbledon as well. There's so much sport today, isn't there?
Well, take us there. Who's going to win what at Wimbledon today?
Well, there's the main kind of price boost is around Carlos Alcaraz. He's the outright favourite for the tournament, 11-10 to win Wimbledon this year. He's playing Andrei Rublev. Now, it's the offer is for him to win the first set 6-3 or 6-4. It's been enhanced from even money out to 6-4. Again, max bet of a tenner on that one. We've got Cam Norrie playing Nicola Jarry. He's the 4-5 favourite to win that one, the Brit. And Sonny Cartel playing Anastasia Pavlyuchenkova. She's odds-on favourite, but it's very close in the betting to win that one. So if the odds are right, the two Brits should go through. We've also got a free in-play tennis bet to use today. If you stake one, you get a free one to use through the tournament. So yeah, plenty going on there as well. And the football. Just heard you guys talking to Lars about it. I think when we were on a few weeks ago, we were saying this is probably the point in the Club World Cup where people will start to get interested, especially if there's a Premier League team left in it. And here we are, semi-final stage, and Chelsea are still left in it. And as you guys have just been saying, PSG, Real Madrid, you'll watch that anywhere. I mean, maybe not if it's a pre-season friendly, but that's it's a great game for a semi-final, isn't it? PSG 5-4 favourites to win the title itself. Real Madrid 7-4, Chelsea 11-4, and Fluminense are 14-1. So the big outsiders there. The games on Tuesday and Wednesday. And Women's Euros, Norway versus Finland today. You've got Switzerland versus Iceland. Loads of price boosts across those games. You also get a free football bet builder if you place one online today as well. So plenty to go at. England, by the way, have drifted from 4-1 out to 6-1 after that defeat to France in the first game. So, the odds are reflecting your mood about them, Max.
Yeah, on the Club World Cup, Jim said, thank goodness the Club World Cup has been invented to allow us to see an entertaining game between two top European sides. Not going to see that anywhere else. He said, that's exactly. not an unfair point, is it? Is that everything, Lee?
I think so,
done?
yeah. There's plenty to go out. Horse racing as well. Best odds guaranteed. Extra places everywhere. Price booster across the lot. Enjoy your sport.
Good stuff. Thanks, Lee.
Thank you.
That was the latest odds with William Hill, 18+, gambleaware.org.
In the Zone on talkSPORT with William Hill, 18+, gambleaware.org.
And as I was just saying there, Barry, I could just see Ollie Pope and Harry Brook getting 200 each, and it might be my fault, Sam Ellard.
Good morning, Max Rushden. Yeah, it's all your fault. I'm going to blame it on you. Good morning, England. 82-4. They needed to produce something pretty special here, didn't they, to avoid defeat. But Akashdeep, who, by the way, how on earth he didn't play in the first Test match, I've got absolutely no idea. He's only playing in this Test match because India wanted to rest Jasprit Bumrah. He's bowled Ollie Pope. There's a little bit of extra bounce on this delivery. Ollie Pope looking to defend the ball. It takes the inside edge. The ball crashes onto the stump. So it really is the perfect start for India. Ollie Pope goes for just 24 runs. It brings the captain, Ben Stokes, to the crease, who's actually been really, really short on runs in the last couple of years for England. It's been 2 years since his last century. Harry Brook at the other end's got 23 runs. Akashdeep, 3 in the innings. England 82-4. Do you think, Max, throughout the day I should remind people how many runs England need to win, or should I just give up on that and just say India needs 6 wickets to win?
You have a duty to remind people, Sam.
To dot the I's, cross the T's, England require 526 runs to win this match with 6 wickets remaining.
Sam, you said there that India wanted to rest Jasprit Bumrah.
Yeah.
Is that the case, or did Jasprit Bumrah want to rest so that he could play at Lords and get his name up on the board?
Possibly the latter, I think. You might be right there. Yeah, it did feel, going into this Test match, a strange decision that there was an 8-day rest between the first and second Test match. India found themselves 1-0 down and then decided to rest their best bowler. Perhaps you're right, Barry. If the second Test match was Lords and the third Test match was Edgbaston, perhaps Bumrah would be playing in this one. But what is also incredible is, going into this Test series, there was so much talk about what 3 Test matches are India going to play. Like, India could only win the matches that Bumrah played in. Would it be 1, 3 and 5? Would they maybe play him early as possible and get some wins under their belt? The irony is that the one match he played in, they lost, and there's a pretty good chance the one match he didn't play in, they're going to win. So maybe, just maybe, India might not be so reliant on Jasprit Bumrah as we all think. Bumrah should come in the next match for Krishna. Then the seam attack of Akashdeep, Siraj and Bumrah will be pretty dangerous going into Lords next week.
So you're calling it, Sam, you're saying Jasprit Bumrah is a fraud and he's absolutely useless at cricket.
I'm already getting tweets from people going, how can you say Bumrah's... I can see the headline on the talkSPORT Cricket YouTube video. talkSPORT reporter calls Bumrah bang average in an incredible rant on Max and Barry's show.
It's okay, Sam. They don't take cricket too seriously in India.
No,
absolutely fine.
No, they're all nice and chilled over there, aren't they, right?
Anyway, looks like India are going to hammer us in this one. There'll be all the Bazball recriminations, but they've played very well in this Test match. More from Sam Allard. As and when stuff happens, it is Max and Barry on the warm-up. Marcus Speller from the Football Ramble. Other podcasts are available, but it's a good one. He will join us in just a second. Good, Max. Well, no, I know. I'm just being polite. He's on in a second. We'll do some transfer stuff with him in just a second.
Cricket balls are red, baseballs are white, American footballs are brown, and tennis balls are yellow. We don't even think about it really, but the story behind the tennis ball is actually quite interesting, and even involves Sir David Attenborough. I know. Well, here's the tale. Tennis is widely known to be a French sport. It dates back to the 12th century when people used handmade balls, and it was then called tennis, which is the verb to hold in French. And people used some pretty wacky material to make the balls with. Cork, wool, chalk, animal fur, and even human hair. A few centuries on, Germany got dead into the tennis too, but wanted to make a few modifications to the ball to make it a bit more effective. Around this time, an American chemist had just created something called vulcanized rubber. Out of that, people started developing air-filled rubber balls, which were properly bouncy, but either red or grey in colour. These were manufactured in Melton Mowbray. That's right, the home of the pork pie. One problem, the balls kept on breaking on impact with the racket. The call of new balls please seemingly coming over every other point. Step forward English lawyer and tennis enthusiast John Moyer Heathcote, who suggested balls be covered in flannel to stop them from degrading. And thus the modern day tennis ball was born. But these were white or black, so how did they become yellow? Well, in 1967, the controller of BBC Two, one Sir David Attenborough, decided the corporation should show Wimbledon on colour TV. He got his wish and it was wide into people's homes across the country. The only sticking point, the white balls were nearly impossible to see on the screen. So the International Tennis Federation, sensing an opportunity, started developing a new ball that would be visible even without the need for 4K LED displays. Not that anyone had that in the late 60s. After rigorous testing, they came up with the colour Optic Yellow and decided every ball be coated in that colour from there on in. And there you have it. Tennis balls are yellow, all because Sir David Attenborough wanted to watch Wimbledon from the comfort of his own front room. You could say the ITF aced it.
That's another one, Barry, isn't it? Ground-bound dialogue for the football journey. I'd love someone to explain what they mean. If we're meant to be, that's what we're meant to be doing now. Someone tell me what that means. Be very useful. Afternoon, everybody. It is the warm-up on talkSPORT with Max Rushden and Barry Glendenning. Marcus Speller from the Football Ramble joins us. Hey, Marcus.
Hello, gentlemen.
Always nice to have you on. Doing some transfer stuff. Devastating news. talkSPORT understands. If talkSPORT is a sentient being, it can understand things. That Victor Gyökeres has agreed terms on a 5-year deal with Arsenal. He's not gone to pre-season training with Sporting. What a shame for the rest of us that Arsenal have finally bought a centre-forward. How are we meant to fill the airtime that was put aside for do Arsenal need a centre-forward? Do they need a real number 9? Now they're actually going to get one.
Yeah, I know. It's a funny feeling, isn't it? Maybe there's some, I don't know, maybe there's a medical to be failed or something like that. So kind of, Arsenal are still the Arsenal that we know. But no, they've gone and done it by the looks of it. I thought this was going to drag and drag, much like they needed a defensive midfielder for I don't know how many years. They would sign all sorts of other players. They wouldn't address that position. I thought, is this going to be the new defensive midfield position for Arsenal? But as you say, Max, they've gone and signed him by the looks of it.
Do you think he'd be a good fit, Marcus? Because I don't watch a lot of Portuguese club football, but every sort
Sorry, can I stop you, Barry? When you say you don't watch a lot of Portuguese club football, could we replace a lot with any?
I think that would probably be fair, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, but I have seen him play for his Portuguese club in other competitions. It is correct. I don't watch any. Well, there is. I live near Stockwell, which is a large Portuguese community. There are a lot of Portuguese bars. I occasionally go into one or two of them for a beer or something to eat. And there is often Portuguese club football on the telly in the corner. So I'm going to say I do watch some Portuguese club football, but it would be very little.
It sounds like more than your average, to be honest with you, Barry. I admire that. I mean, when you said you've seen him other competitions, I assume you're not talking about the Portuguese League Cup. It's more the Champions League, really.
Yeah. Oh, God. We're really getting bogged down in the weeds here, aren't we?
What is the Zenith Data System? What's Portuguese for Zenith Data Systems?
I have no idea. The Portuguese Johnson's Paint Trophy. Look, I think that he would be a good fit for. I mean,
anyway, sorry. Before you rudely interrupted me,
more on the cafes of South London.
Forensically analyse how much, if any, Portuguese club football I watch. On the rare occasions I have seen him, every goal he scores seems to be him sprinting in behind a very high defensive line, going in one-on-one with the keeper, and then either lifting it over or pinging it into one of the corners. Yeah. Will that work when he's at Arsenal? Because teams playing Arsenal tend not to play with big, high defensive lines. They're sitting back and letting Arsenal try to walk the ball into the net.
Yeah, I can imagine if Mikel Arteta or anybody at the upper echelons of Arsenal just heard you say that, they'll think, no, the plan's they figured it out already. No, you are right to say that about his style of play.
Well, thank you, Marcus, yes.
But had you stuck around the cafes a little bit more, maybe you would.
If I'd stayed for an extra custard tart.
Exactly, yeah.
A double espresso. That is the breakfast of champions, by the way. If you don't live near a Portuguese enclave, make it your business to find one. Go have a double espresso and a custard tart. Breakfast of champions. I weighed myself yesterday, 17 stone 5.
Oh, well done. Many congratulations.
Yeah. It's going in the right direction. Yeah, I think we were talking about Victor Gyökeres.
Yes.
Okay, that's right, yeah. But I do love a natter. As much as
Barry's audition for the Transfer Insiders. I think you may have failed it.
I think that he is a good fit. I mean, it's the here and now Arsenal need a goal scorer. And I think that with Benjamin Šeško, hard not to sound like Sean Connery when you say that, he's younger, a little bit more untested. His ceiling may well be higher in years to come, we shall see. But with Gyökeres, I mean, you look at the numbers, very, very good indeed. I mean, he did pretty well when he was here. I think he was in the championship team of the season. Now, people might say, oh, well, brilliant, that's not exactly huge to go by. But there is a familiarity with the football and the footballing culture here, which I think may well count for something, but I don't expect people to hang their hats too much on that. But his numbers have been impressive, and he is a dead-eye goal scorer. You're right to say about the style of play when he's running in behind, and perhaps that'll be more handy maybe in the Champions League for Arsenal. But he can finish. And he's, as I say, he's like a shark, just waiting for that moment, and that's what Arsenal need. If you think about it, Arsenal gave a good account of themselves in a Champions League semi-final against the best team in Europe with a midfielder up front. What could they have done with the striker up front? So this is good business from Arsenal. It's genuinely impressive, and they've not messed around, and I take my hat off to them.
You did send me down a tangent in my mind of other footballers that are good to say in Sean Connery's accent.
Yes.
So I wasn't listening to you, Marcus. I was going, Ryan Sessegnon. But then I'm just doing an impression of Jim White. So it's a tricky. Anyway, let's park that. That's all we'll be thinking about. That's anyone listening will be thinking about.
Surely the one that Max is Vinicius Junior. That would be the one.
Yeah. Oh no, that's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
I saw this on the the notes. Mm-hmm. Chelsea monitoring Ethan Nwaneri, right? And they can't unless suddenly there's more. You're allowed to play more wide attackers than you used to be able to play. It's not 11 aside anymore. You get to play 2 each. Is there a logic to it that I can't see? With Gittins coming in, etc., etc. I know Mudryk is sort of out of the picture now. I know that Sancho, they sent him back. So do they have the right number, or is it, in my mind, they've got about 40 and they don't need another one?
Yeah, that tends to be how Chelsea operate these days. Maybe, when people often try and sound a bit cool and hipster and they say, the fullback is the most important position on the pitch nowadays. Maybe Chelsea are going to double up on the fullback, so they're going to play with 2 wingers. Maybe that's the grand plan, I don't know. But they are stockpiling in those positions. It does seem to be. I mean, when João Pedro goes there, they said, he could be a striker, could play just behind the striker, could play out wide. And I thought, come on, haven't you got enough there? But Gittins he's a good signing. I mean, this is the thing. Like when they're getting in these players, you kind of go, it's a good signing. And Maresca does like to play with width. He obviously likes a lot of options out there, and they're in the Champions League. So I know what you mean. You do look at it and think, yeah, well, I mean, aren't you quite stacked in those positions? But then for Chelsea, midfield-wise, they've got a good, solid midfield. So I don't think they're looking to sign anybody there. They spent an awful lot of money on the players in those positions. They got in Liam Delap, so there's the striker for backup, or not backup, sorry, to challenge for the number 9 role or the starting striker. Jackson is there. Pedro can play there as well. I don't know if Jackson will be around.
Enough footballers. Really,
I think that's it. They want the shiny toys. The owners and fans, we like new shiny toys. And I suppose the winger, the positions out wide may be the option, because, as I say, Maresca likes to chop and change in those positions particularly, and with 1 or 2 like Jadon Sancho not being there in the coming season, then I kind of get it. But yes, it does look like they are kind of stockpiling in those areas.
What kind of player can Chelsea fans expect to see in Jamie Gittins, who I only discovered this morning is English?
That's right, yeah. I'm glad someone's broken that to you, Barry.
Well, you see, Marcus, the problem is I don't live near any German beer cellars.
That is the trouble.
So I don't go in, and there is never German
You'd think they would have flocked to where you live in London, if they wanted to. But there we are. There's a tip-off for anybody who's selling German beer. But Gittins, I mean, he has played in the Champions League final. I mean, he came on right at the end of the game. But, I mean, an exciting, pacey winger who has, in the season just gone, scored a few more goals than what he's been doing. So, as we say, goal involvements now has increased. And I think, really, that's what the fans want from a wide player, to be exciting, to have a keen eye for goal, to provide an assist and to attack the fullbacks. And that's what they'll get in Gittins. And a player who's still very young, but because he's been at Dortmund, got a lot of experience and Champions League experience. So I think he's ready to go, and I think he could do something well next season in a Chelsea shirt, providing he's given time, which I'm pretty sure he will be.
I mean, Madueke, they're thinking that, he might go. And that would be... I mean, it seems weird if and apparently he's agreed terms with Arsenal. So this is my sources, which is the WhatsApp that the producer sent me a minute ago. Says, so what, they just swap? Seems odd. Like, you decide who's better out of those two. Just keep the one you've got and just work with them and make them better. Jeffrey Schlupp, says Gaz, is one for the Sean Connery voice. I'm too Jeffrey Schlupp. I go into Jim White. I can't help myself. I mean,
I think Bruno Fernandes. If you pronounce Bruno Fernandes the way it's meant to be in the Portuguese, Bruno Fernandes. Yeah. That kind of works.
Yeah,
well,
that really does work. Have we got any more? Why haven't Tottenham bought anyone? Oh no, Calvert-Lewin to Man United's interesting, Marcus.
Yeah, I mean, he's got to go somewhere, hasn't he? I think with Manchester United, you might as well. I mean, they need a striker. Really, that's what they've been looking for. The lads they've had up front haven't really cut the mustard, and I don't blame them for that necessarily. Obviously, their performances are largely down to them, but it's just so chaotic at the club. Young players like Højlund and Xerxes. There's another one, Xerxes. It writes itself. They've struggled, it's fair to say, but I think most people have at the club. I think Calvert-Lewin, I mean, is an injury-prone forward the man to kind of really try and help kick on Man United from 15th in the league? Maybe, maybe not. He's a free agent, as long as he doesn't take the mick with wages, because Manchester United have, quite frankly, had their pants pulled down at times with players demanding wages and so on. I think that it's not a bad signing. It's an extra option off the bench. It's not hugely inspiring, but I kind of think about it and go, yeah, okay, fair enough. I mean, if they've got Cunha and Mbeumo, if he's expected to sign soon enough, then I think that's the really exciting stuff. So Calvert-Lewin, there's a player in there. I'm quite sure there is. If he can stay injury-free, which is the big if, I think he could provide a few goals. So it's. I don't think it's going to provide a longer queue for season tickets necessarily if they get him, but I kind of get it, and there is a Premier League striker there who could provide something, again, if he can stay fit, which I hope he does, obviously.
Steve Sidwell. Matt in Oxford. Keep those coming, please. 8:10:89. At Max Rushden. Marcus is going to hang around for the footballer game. Scott Minto's going to join us too, and anyone else who's just passing the office. It is Max and Barry here on the warm-up. Let's go to Sam Ellard, because there was no hope, and now there's even less hope, Sam.
Yeah, I think so. India had to wait until 12:40 this afternoon to get out there. They've already taken 2 early wickets. I told you about the Ollie Pope wicket. Harry Brook has gone for 23. Akashdeep's got 4 in the innings. It's a snorter of a delivery, a ball that comes back into the right-hander sharply, perhaps kept a little bit lower than what Harry Brook anticipated. Hit him on the pad, given out LBW on field. Brook did review it, was umpire's call, so he is out for 23. Stokes and Smith at the crease. England 93 for 5. India need 5 more wickets for victory. And to dot the I's and cross the T's, England require 515 runs to win.
Yeah, I think you can probably stop that now. That last bit, Sam. You probably don't need don't need that bit. Sam, question.
Go on.
If you're still listening to me,
always.
Are you now? It's 1:15 on a Sunday. England could really push it out. And do you want England to really go for it, or do you want 5 wickets? Before 3 o'clock, and you can have an afternoon just on the tiles.
I am completely impartial. I am completely professional. I want to see a good day of thrilling Test match cricket, and if that means I'm here until 6:30 p.m. this evening as England batter it out with the balls ticking down, I'm all for it.
Thank you, Sam. Sheridan Zakiri, Sebastian Schweinsteiger. It's great fun, this. We'll do more of those in the footballer game in just a second. Good afternoon. It is the warm-up on talkSPORT. Max and Barry here until 2. Musha Shoko says phenomenon. The trouble is, Barry, I just go into I spent the whole ad break trying to do Sean Connery. I just can't do it. I should probably leave them to Marcus. I'll send Marcus a list of them. Anyway, Oasis kicked off their long-awaited gig. Gigs in Cardiff. Oasis this weekend. Did they really? I didn't notice. Nobody put up like a 30-photo stream on their Instagram. We are giving you the chance to win a pair of tickets to the gig in Manchester on the 19th of July and £5,000 in cash and a night in a hotel. So it is a good prize. And here is somebody who I am promised is from Manchester with the T's and C's.
All right, Arcade, you have to be over 18 to enter in the UK, excluding Northern Ireland, for the chance to win a pair of tickets to the most electrifying rock and roll reunion of the century, a hotel stay and £5,000 spending money. Text the word Oasis to 83338 by Monday the 7th of July at 11 p.m. and you'll be entered into the draw to go supersonic this summer. Text costs £2 plus one standard network rate message. You must have the bill payer's permission or post your name and number to Oasis Prize Draw, PO Box 3190, Colchester, CO2 8GP, to arrive by 5 p.m. on the 10th of July. This is a talkSPORT limited promotion run on talkSPORT, Talk and Virgin Radio UK stations. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. Good luck, yeah? Sorted.
Okay, let's play the footballer game. The footballer game, everybody. Scott Minto joins Marcus, me, and Barry. Hey, Scott, welcome.
Good afternoon, Max. How are we?
Yeah, very good. Thank you very much. Sunday session coming up. You and Max Scott. Tell us what's coming up on your excellent programme.
Well, thank you very much for saying that in advance when you know absolutely nothing about it. But I do.
Will you spend like 3 hours discussing the fact that your first name is Scott and his surname is Scott?
Do you know what? Funny you say that, Barry. I did mention that last week. It was the first time we worked together. I said, two Scott. He sort of said the two Scots together. I said, well, wouldn't it have been funny if, because he's a big Forest fan, isn't he, Max? So, if your old man's favourite player was not Archie Gemmell, but Scott Gemmell, then he would have been the two Scots all by himself. But we didn't spend too long on it, as you can obviously see.
That sounds like top-tier banter.
I don't know what's coming up. I hope you're going to say we're going to perform all of Hamilton, and then suddenly I'm in.
No, obviously we're going to talk about the Lionesses' disappointing performance. Got to bounce back. We saw Argentina do it in the World Cup, didn't we? Losing to Saudi Arabia and then and go on to win the trophy, so they can do. I worked on 2 games yesterday in the Club World Cup. It was Chelsea Palmeiras and also Real Madrid against Borussia Dortmund. So all over that, there's a lot of stories there. We're down to the semi-finals. We'll be talking transfer rumours. Noni Madueke apparently has agreed for terms with Arsenal. Is Ethan Nwaneri going to be leaving Arsenal? So there's lots of things to talk about. We'll keep ahead of the Wimbledon cricket and the Grand Prix as well.
Lovely stuff. Is everyone ready for the footballer game? Everyone, Marcus, you ready? You poised? Yeah, good. Okay, can we fade Marcus up so we can hear that he's poised? Are you poised? Marcus, are you poised?
Lovely party. Pity I wasn't invited.
Yeah. You got really good at it. This is great. You could do Cameo. You could make billions on Cameo. Billions is perhaps stretching it. So Give Marcus Speller £8 and he'll read out the name of a 90s footballer in Sean Connery's voice. And I'll pay you. Take my money. That's what I want to spend my money on. I can't remember, Marcus, how you did last time. Did you do okay? You got 1, I seem to remember.
No, I did very bad. I got 0 points. Yeah.
Okay, fine.
I was awful.
Well, Max, if you can't remember, I did really well last time, so...
Okay.
We'll see how
Let's play, everybody. Reese is here. Welcome, Reese.
Hi.
How are you?
Not too bad, thank you.
Okay, out of 10?
Oh, we'll go for a 7, why not?
Okay, 7. I suppose you just bought Zubimendi and Gyökeres and...
Oh, yeah, we're buying everyone. It's great.
Yeah, I know. Although, can I just say, and this is not football game related, I wrote a column which actually required some research last week, which is a grave disappointment. But I looked through the top 100 most expensive transfers of all time. And at a real push, if you're being generous, 40 have worked out. Probably more around 30. It's a big old gamble. It's like it's a mad thing to do to spend £70 million on a human being who might actually turn out to be rubbish. But I suppose it's sort of how this all works. But I just wanted to mention for the tape that I had done some work last week. Let's play, everybody. Off you go, Reese.
Our first footballer began his career at Brøndby in 1995, not scoring in any of his 0 appearances.
Can we have some footballer game?
Here it comes. There we go.
Peter
Start again.
No. He moved to Galatasaray in 1995, staying just the one season, not scoring in any of his 30 appearances. He was then off to Columbus Crew.
Kasper Schmeichel.
No, between 96 and 97, not scoring in any of his 38 games. He then moved to the Premier League with Liverpool in 1997, staying until the year 2000, not scoring in any of his... No, in any of his 25 games. He then moved to Blackburn between 2000... He is Brad Friedel.
There we go. Continue on the form from last week.
Really
when I actually didn't get one. But don't worry.
Scott Minto 1, Marcus Bella 0, Barry Glendenning 0, Max Rushden.
Did he start at Brøndby?
Well, Scott.
Yeah, started at Brøndby.
Interesting.
That is interesting. That really that put me off the scent.
Me too.
Yeah, absolutely. It put all of us off the scent. Here we go. Player 2.
Our second footballer began his career at Manchester United in 1997, staying until the year 2000, not scoring in any of his 4 performances, and also went on loan to Royal Antwerp for the 98-99 season, where he scored 3 times in 29 appearances. It was then off to Derby in the year 2000, where he scored...
Greening.
Nope, where he scored 3 goals in 86 games. He was then off to Southampton in 2003, staying until 2006, scoring...
Luke Chadwick.
Nope, scoring 4 goals in his 94 games. He was then off to Stoke for the 06-07 season, scoring
Ryan
7...
Shawcross.
Nope.
Chris Bardsley.
Nope, 7 times in his 45 appearances. Then he went to
Phil
Sunderland.
Bardsley.
Nope. He went to Sunderland.
Jeff Bardsley, Arthur Bardsley,
Barry Bardsley,
Marion Bardsley, Dame Shirley Bardsley. Sorry, where were we?
Sunderland in the 2007-8 season, where he scored 3 times in 22 games. He was then off to Stoke again between 2008 and 2013, where he scored 4 in 64.
Danny Higginbottom.
It is Danny Higginbottom.
Oh my goodness! How did I not get that?
Oh yes,
well played.
Dan, sorry,
that
mate.
feels good.
Know him well.
That feels.
He lives in the
Are you
States
sure
now,
it
doesn't
wasn't
he?
Luke Chadwick?
Yeah,
I'm sure.
works in the States.
You know him well, do you, Scott?
Yeah,
Do you feel
well,
like you should have got that one.
I do feel I should have got that. So as he's in the States, he hopefully is not listening to this.
Well, we're available in the States.
Well,
We are, yeah.
Well, yeah. When was the time
He
over
often
there?
gets in touch with the show.
That's
he
true,
actually
yeah.
every show because he's a very good football analyst.
Very
He's
good.
good with radio shows as well. He breaks down the whole show that me and Barry have done on a big telestrator. He does like Monday Night Football. He does all these things every single week.
we could improve.
Yeah, exactly. It's late where I am, Danny. I can't take this call. He does 2 hours. Honestly, it's exhausting.
There we go. You're about to get
Max
a call
1.
from a States broadcaster very soon indeed.
Max 1, Scott 1, Marcus 0, Barry 0. Here we go.
Our final footballer began his career at OLS in 1989, where he didn't score in any of his 15 appearances. He was then off to Raman Palo in 1990, where he didn't score in any of his 15 appearances again. He then moved to HJK between 1991 and 1995, not scoring in any of his 101 appearances.
Jussi Jääskeläinen.
Nope. He then moved
Mixu Patalainen.
Nope. He moved to FC Copenhagen.
Dimitri Borgerson.
Nope. He then moved
Anthony Niemi.
It is Anthony Niemi.
Very good.
Oh, very good.
Oh, I got one.
Andy Nera, classic talkSPORT player, really good. There we go. Max 1, Scott 1, Marcus 1, Barry 0. But look, everybody played well. Did you have a nice day, Marcus?
I had a lovely day. I really did. I'm
Great.
just thrilled that my friends and family can always remember this as well as myself. So thank you for the opportunity, gentlemen.
No, it's a great pleasure. Scott, enjoy your show with Max.
Thank you, mate. I will.
See, it's the first time ever that a Max has followed a Max. Who's in the hard chair, Scott? Are you or Max?
No,
in the
Max
hard
is.
chair?
Yeah, Max is.
Is he
very
Max in the
good?
hard
Yeah,
chair?
we were
Wow.
together last week.
5 hours of Max. That's too many. Statistically, I don't want him to be any good. There can only be one, there can only be one
I'm
Max
sorry,
in
mate.
this
He is
town.
good.
Yeah. Is he good?
He is good. Mm.
Is he young?
He's young.
Yeah.
Ah, for God's sake.
I know.
This is awful. Right.
Max following
Is he
Max.
nice?
He's good. You know what? He's really nice. He's so nice. I just got him an oat milk latte.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. I
Okay.
texted, do you want a coffee? He went, yeah.
Well, I mean, that's
Did
sort
he,
of a
did he
humble brag. That's sort
specifically
of you.
ask anyone
He did.
for an oat milk
that's more-
latte?
He did.
Yeah,
You're not
that's
having that.
more you saying you're
I
nice,
think less
Scott.
of people who drink oat milk coffee.
I think that's okay. I think, drink whatever you like. But I think you saying you bought him a coffee is actually you saying that you're nice. It's no reflection on Max. In many ways, it shows that he is quite selfish and a penny pinching. He's awfully.
It started already, isn't he? He's not having another Max on talkSPORT.
Have a good show.
Cheers, mate.
Thank you, Reese, as always, as well.
Yes,
it is Max and Barry here on the warm-up. We'll be here until 2. What are we doing next? Oh, we're doing some Tour de France. Brilliant. I can sit back as Barry and Oluchen and I talk about cycling, and which, if I do ask a question, it will be as basic as, what are the brakes? Or what are the silly things they put their feet in? So I will stand back and let the professionals take over. Afternoon all, Max and Barry here until 2 on the warm-up. A huge relief there if you heard in the news that Elon Musk is going to start a new political party. I was slightly worried that he would fall out of the public eye a little bit after leaving Doge and all the wonderful work he's done with them. So that's great news. Let's put a spring in my step for the afternoon. Anyway, we'll do some Tour de France in just a second. After the Lights Go Out tonight from 8 o'clock is with former England and Arsenal striker and talkSPORT's very own Leanne Sanderson. Over the course of an hour, she'll discuss a range of issues with Leon McKenzie and Steve Harmison, including being the first openly gay footballer, her fraught relationship with the FA, receiving social media abuse, including death threats, following her move into being a pundit. Let's have a listen.
To some people, they can't handle someone like me. So, you know, I'm a woman of colour, I'm a woman, I'm a gay woman. Do you know what I mean? And I'm talking about men's football. So for me, it's like I tick all the wrong boxes for some people, but in my eyes, I tick all the right ones. I've always said I don't want to be picked based upon the colour of my skin, being a woman or being gay. We can see through that. I see it on TV companies now. When people are on television, I think that's not what we're asking. We're just asking to be treated equally. Do you know what I mean? So we're not asking for a panel of all black people or all white people. That's not the point. The point is we're asking just to be seen. And I think people like myself wasn't on television 15 years ago. Do you know what I mean? And that's the reality. So we have progressed. And I think the backlash I've received since I started working at talkSPORT, Sky, everything, it was horrific at times, awful. My mum was in tears at times, you know, my partner gets messages, and those are the things that people I don't think fully understand.
After the Lights Go Out, 8 o'clock tonight. The whole series available as a podcast, by the way, wherever you get your podcast. Leanne Sanderson in conversation with Leon McKenzie and Steve Harmison. Let's do some Tour de France. It comes round again. Orla Chenoy joins us as she always does. Hey, Orla, you okay?
I'm very well, thank you, Max. How are you? Hello, Barry.
I'm really good. I hand over to Barry, who is much better at asking questions on this subject, but I reserve the right to ask the layperson's questions as the interview progresses, so you two don't get too nerdy.
Okay, yeah, I don't think we're going to get too nerdy. Orla, you are a consummate professional, so just the Tour de France, for anyone who doesn't know, started yesterday, it continues today, it's on for the next, the 21 stages. What's it all about this year? What should we be looking out for? And tell us about it's going to be a two-man battle, basically, isn't it?
Pretty much. It's hard to escape that, really, and it doesn't make it any less exciting for it. We have a big old showdown between Tadej Pogačar and Jonas Vingegaard. Between them, they've won the last 4 Tours de France. Tadej is going for his 4th Tour win. Jonas is going for his 3rd, trying to even it up between them. Sorry, they've won the last 5 between them. And at the moment, it's advantage Tadej Pogačar. He is the world champion. He's barely put a pedal stroke wrong in the last 18 months. Jonas Vingegaard, who lost the title last year, is once again coming back from injury. He crashed earlier in the season. He's recovering from concussion, but they also bring the 2 big super teams between them, and the way they race and ride against each other elevates the entire race. They push each other ever further, and they've created this entirely different kind of racing that if you are new to bike racing, I've got to say, you might not even realize how spoilt you are, but it is so attacking, it's so dynamic, every second is fought for, and it's absolutely thrilling. So we are looking at another big showdown between Tadej and Jonas. The money really is on Tadej, but you cannot count out Jonas Vingegaard and his incredible Visma Lease bike team.
Max, you have your hand up. You're going to ask, what is a bicycle?
No. It's not quite what is a bicycle. But you say there that, you know, they're both very attacking. Explain what attacking means in cycling terms.
I love that question, and I do love your questions, Max, actually. And I should correct myself because Jonas isn't traditionally an attacking rider, but what it means, you're very welcome. What it means, so if you look back to, say, British fans of sport and bike racing in particular, but if you're not so familiar with bike racing, if you look back at 2012, for example, when Sir Bradley Wiggins won the Tour de France with Team Sky. Now, Team Sky were very well known for getting on the front of a bike race, putting all their riders on the front and riding as safely as possible. So they would essentially drive the train from the start of the stage to the finish. And if anyone tried to get past, they would shut down the road and they'd be able to control it. what Tadej Pogacar in particular does is he rips up this rule book. So that's the way the GC riders, the riders who are going for the overall Tour de France, would traditionally have done it, riding as safely as possible, because you're trying to finish all 21 stages in the fastest possible time. So you're eliminating as much danger as possible. Tadej doesn't do that. He goes off the front. He attacks when it could be risky, when he could lose time. He attacks on stages, sprint stages, for example, when traditionally you wouldn't have an overall contender going on the attack. He will just try to animate the race as much as possible. Traditionally, what we've seen with Jonas Vingegaard is he's a more conservative rider. He isn't what we call a punchy rider. He doesn't have that same acceleration. He's better on the longer, slower climbs where he can sort of settle into his diesel engine. But this year in particular, he has started to go off the front as well. So yesterday, for example, stage 1 of the Tour de France is one that's set for the sprinters, and a sprinter won. What we should really be seeing if everyone's playing it safe is these big GC riders just staying somewhere in the middle of the pack, trying to stay as safe as possible, not putting their face in the wind, because the other thing is literally it takes more energy to be on the front and to be in the wind. But no, we're seeing Jonas Vingegaard going at the top of the final climb of the day. We're seeing Tadej Pogacar right up there, and these two riders not even needing their teams around them necessarily. Usually they're following their teammates, but these two riders yesterday are looking behind them to see where their teams are. They're the ones in the front, and that is a completely different style of riding when it comes to riding for the general classification. So it makes it really, really fun to watch. Does that answer the question, Max? Does that make sense?
It does answer the question. I've got another silly question, but I'll let Barry answer a sensible one first.
Or I was just going to say, you were obviously anchoring the TNT coverage. It's really good. It gets better every year. You look like you're having great fun in the studio. Is it great fun?
Do you know what? Boringly, it actually is, or maybe annoyingly, I don't know. Like, we have the best fun. And you know what it's like as well. When you're broadcasting for this amount of time, you can't fake it. You cannot pretend to either get on with your co-hosts or to enjoy the racing that much.
I've been faking it with Max for years.
You're good,
Listen,
Barry.
You only beat me to it, Barry, because I was politely listening to the answer.
No, well, I was going to say, right, so the thing is, we all know each other really well, especially like myself, Adam Blythe, Robbie McEwen, ex-professional riders. We've done this for a number of years now together. And I've got to be honest, maybe, halfway through week 2, because it's a 3-week bike race, we have every day together. We eat dinner together. We're spending, like myself and Adam realised last night, we spend more time with each other on dinners out than we do with our other halves, So it's a lot of intense time together. So maybe by like halfway through week 2, we're maybe a bit fed up with each other, but I don't think we hide that either. When we're being a bit narky with each other, we allow that to come out, because then it's more realistic. But we genuinely have the best fun. And I'm so lucky as well, because my family, like my husband and my kids, aren't really into bike racing that much. So if I was at home right now, I wouldn't really be allowed to have the Tour de France on the TV all day, every day. So I get paid to actually sit and watch my favourite sporting event of the year. So, I mean, I can't not have fun. It would be criminal.
So my dumb question is, and Carl sent a message going, it's a shame there's not a Formula One section, because you could have put your feet up for 2 bits on this show. But obviously with Formula One, they talk about the car all the time. Do these two, is there a difference between their bikes, or is everyone's bike basically the same?
The manufacturers will hate me for this, obviously, the bike manufacturers, but they're so similar. They have such similar regulations. They all have to be a certain minimum weight. They all need to have a certain width of handlebars. The technology is so advanced these days. When it comes to like time trial bikes or whatever, so in stage 5, we've got a 33-kilometre time trial, and that's very much about the aerodynamics, and that is all the innovation goes into that. It goes into the bike spec, it goes into the helmets, it goes into the kit and how aerodynamic the kit is. But there's not a massive difference between the bikes. It really is such a pure sport in that way, whereby the bike will not be winning this bike race. It is whoever is going to be the strongest, the most resilient, and who can avoid the misfortunes of lady luck as much as possible. It's as pure as that.
Orla, a little birdie tells me that on August the 2nd, you'll be doing L'Etape for the Tour de France Femme, which is, for anyone who doesn't know, members of the public get to ride a stage of the Tour de France either before or after the pros do it. And the stage you're doing will involve you cycling Col de Madeleine which is 3,540 metres high. That's the climb. How are you looking forward to that, Orla?
Can you tell from my face that I'm not at all? At all. And this I'm not faking. I really deeply regret saying yes to this at the start of the year. I haven't enjoyed it. Okay, I'm a massive cycling fan, and I have been for 15 years, but I've never been a bike rider. I ride my bike every day because I live in Amsterdam, but it's a cargo bike with a battery. It's a very different vehicle. I didn't even have a road bike when I said yes to this. So I now have a road bike. I haven't ridden a road bike in 4 years before I started this. And actually, in my defense, Your Honor, I did say when I said yes to this, I said, I'm going to say yes because I don't yet know how difficult it's going to be. And if I knew how hard it was going to be, I would definitely say no. And at least I've proven myself right. If I'd known how hard it was going to be, I would have said no. It's been horrendous. But that said, I'm really, really, really looking forward to the end of the day on the 2nd of August. If and when I finish this ride, I'll be incredibly proud of myself. I will either be crying on the top of a mountain or crying in hospital. It's going to go one of those two ways. But yeah, it's a massive, massive challenge. It's one of those as well. It's really obvious. Like, it puts it all into context as to just how difficult it is for these pro bike riders. I don't have a clue. I love the human stories behind it. I love the human narratives. I love the speed. I love the scenery. I've no idea really about watts per kilo or any of that jazz. So I'm having to look at my numbers, and I'm having to sort of knuckle down and get training. And what I realised actually is that the recovery is almost as hard as the actual effort, because I'm a mum of two, and I work, and actually getting to put your feet up is very hard. So that's the only advantage that I've found, is I have to force myself to lie down every now and again. So maybe I'll take it after all.
Well, that is, how old are your kids?
10 and 6.
Okay, still, so sort of they can fend for themselves. I was going to say, any time when, I'm a father of 2 very small kids, and any time when you are not looking after them, it is easier than looking after them. Even I'd say cycling up a 3,000 metre mountain, I'd say, do you know what, just on balance, I'd get on the bike.
Do you know what, Max? It's so true. So last weekend, I went out for my first 100-kilometre bike ride with my friend. And I thought, I can't do this. I can't leave the kids, because they are a little bit, they can fend for. And I went out in the bike, and as soon as I started pedaling, I was like, oh, I've got hours to myself. And I can chat to my friend. Yeah, it's going to hurt a lot, but I'm free.
That's the only way. Hey, thanks, Orla. Good luck with the ride.
Yeah,
thanks for
let
coming
us know
on.
how you get on.
Thank you so much.
Ola Chinoy there, who covers the Tour de France for TNT. That puts your half marathon into perspective, Barry.
It really does. I mean, this is hardcore what Orla's doing. It's 114 kilometres. There's several mountains on the route, but it finishes on this famous Tour de France mountain called Col de Madeleine, and the pros struggle going up there, really struggle. God. And that's at the end of the ride. So, chapeau Orla. If she gets through that, it'll be some achievement.
Yeah, do it on the e-bike, I would. Anyway, Justin Morehouse joins us in just a second for Guess the Attendance. Sounds a bit like it's a sort of theme tune. 3 jocular men, middle-aged men, bumbling through life, and here we are, getting up to mischief. Max, Barry and Justin on our merry way, rolling down a hill in a bath. We could do it. Justin Morehouse joins us for Guess the Attendance. Welcome, Justin.
Hi, how are you guys? You all right?
Oh, very well.
Good. How are you?
I was all right. Whilst I was waiting to, I was in the metaphorical tunnel, in the sort of, the walk, the ring walk, the sort of like the preparation, coming out of the pavilion, whatever sport analogy you want. Whilst I'm waiting to come on, I see the output, the visual output of this radio station. And they advertised the warm-up as obviously one of the leading brands in talkSPORT's roster with Max Rushden, which is you, journalist, Max Rushden, and Barry Glendenning, who frankly isn't without his own sort of credentials,
Of course.
A man of great, great experience and heft, carving a niche there with his own kind of style, which is good. But there's this beautiful graphics come on, and it's you dancing around like you're in some kind of like shampoo commercial, in a white shirt and just jocular, having fun. Hey, it looks a little bit like your Grinder profile. You're just sort of like spinning around.
Well, hang on, me
Nothing
or
of Barry. Nothing about, Barry. If it was Barry would look like he was trying to sell you an axle grinder in a pub. He's not a grinder. Wouldn't be a grinder profile. Why is Barry not on the visuals?
I don't know.
I'm too ugly for the visuals, Justin.
No,
and I think you'll find it's an angle grinder, not an axle grinder. I'd be selling you in the pub.
I don't know. I don't really look at these hands. They don't do much.
Look, the thing is, Justin. As you say, we're a very established show. We are. Yeah. We're in national treasure heritage territory. This is year 13 or 14. There are some things that there are. There's a book, 20 Years of talkSPORT, not a mention of me or Barry. It's airbrushed. There's, as you walk into the office, big photo of every presenter. No, we're not there. It's okay. We don't take it personally. Barry got on the jingle, but the man says Glendenning. It doesn't even say Glendenning. These are things that we don't want to talk about. Yeah. We're just happy to be here. We're happy to tip up. We do our little bit. We say thank you very much, and then we go away again. But it is, you have brought it to our attention. We'll make sure that Barry is on the visuals. Organise a photo shoot, management, immediately.
I've done a photo shoot.
We did one,
I've done a photo shoot, so they've clearly seen the photos and gone, no.
This show is the Dennis Irwin of early 90s dominant football.
There you are.
Does the job. Everybody wants him on the team. Never going to be a sex scandal.
A brilliant left foot.
Yeah, and brilliant left footer. Well, they've got a left footer there, live from the studio, and a right footer over in there.
And about sort of 20 years after we finished, people will look back and notice, actually, that was good. But right now, you're absolutely right. We let the big hitters. We're not here for the glory. We're just here for broadcasting, Justin. We're here for
What am I here for? What am I here for?
You're here because you're a great guy who does this for nothing, for year after year. We're not sure why, but we really appreciate your company. I'd say that's what it is. Let's start, everybody, at the Stade de Genève. Yes?
Can I say, when I die, and talkSPORT do the eulogy for me, I won't mention that he did this for nothing.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Of course, it will be done. Don't you worry. Yeah. We go to the Stade de Genève. I presume in Geneva. I haven't been given this.
That is correct.
Let's presume the Stade de Genève. Denmark 0, Sweden 1 in Women's Euros 2025. Adina Alves Batista refereed the game, but how many were there at the Stade de Genève, Barry?
I've seen a game that was played at the Stade de Genève. Oh, it was that one, actually.
I've seen this game.
I've seen the game. It's quite a small stadium.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say 11,500.
I also saw the goal from this Nordic derby, and I think it was a bit more than that. It's 11,001.
Well, I said 11,500.
11,501 then. Thank you for your honesty.
Thank you for your honesty. This game, if without honesty, is nothing. I mean, even with it, arguably, is nothing. let's not go there. 17,319. Justin 1, Barry 0 to the Stadion Letzigrund. Where did England lose last night? Zurich, wasn't it? France 2, England 1. France certainly did. Yes, Barry. Yes, Justin.
I know the attendance.
So do I.
Okay. Well, it's Justin's guess.
I know.
Here we go.
This is where my honesty gets me. I could be 1-0 up. Now I'm going to be 2-0 down. The vagaries of fate and morality.
Yeah.
22,528.
Can I showboat?
Yeah.
Yes.
22,542.
Correct is the correct answer. A direct hit for Barry Glendenning. It's Glendenning. It's one apiece. We go.
That's not showboating. That's not showboating. Showboating is that's not showboating.
Well, it is showboating because you said you showboated by saying I know the answer and then got it completely wrong.
You've hit that
12.
You've hit that crisply on the half volley, and it's gone in the top corner. That's. What you've done there is you've put it away.
Okay.
You've dispatched it. Yeah. No, it's not showboat. You've not dribbled it round the keeper.
Right.
Okay, we go now, and this is tricky. We're already late, so let's crack through these last three. The Lincoln Financial Field, I think it's in Philadelphia. Alireza Fagani refereed the game. Palmeiras 1, Chelsea 2, but how many were there? The last digit is missing from my attendance. That's all I'll say. But Barry, we go to you.
36,400.
Showboating coming up, 60,000.
65,780 blank. That is showboating. Classic showboating.
Now that's showboating.
How do you know it wasn't just 6,000 and something? And the digit wasn't
because they've got a comma. They put a comma in the right place.
Right.
Anyway, none of your talk. We've just got to get on with it. We go PSG 2, Bayern Munich 0, the Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Anthony Taylor of England refereed the game, but how many were to watch? PSG beat Bayern Munich. Justin?
65,000.
Barry?
64,999.
66,937. A win for Justin. And just for the tape, the MetLife Stadium, Real Madrid 3, Borussia Dortmund 2. How many were there, Barry?
I didn't hear a word you said. 51,000.
70,000.
76,611.
This is FIFA giving out. Do you know